No time for a stupid intro today. We're looking at a very big, very exciting game, and there is no time to lose. What magical mysteries does this box have for us? Well, frankly, Shogun has shitloads. Shogun is a game of warring, negotiating, and Olympic-level bickering as 3 to 5 players struggle to control the most of Japan. Now, fundamentally, it's an area control game. You might pop a bicep here to eradicate your friend's castle, then park your glutes here to protect your farmland, that kind of thing. And then after 2 in-game years, not 2 real-life years, the person who has the most victory points is crowned manager of Japan. And that's actually relevant because history lesson, there's the victory point tracker on the board here, history lesson, Japan's chief export in the 14th century was victory points. And just as the samurai wields his katana to keep his lord safe, so Shogun wields the colour beige to ensure that no one will want to play it, ever. I just want to make a quick point before we get into all the fun of the review proper. This stuff, games that look like wall calendars, is not okay anymore. It was even just 2-3 years ago, but these days, Kickstarters of things like Monikers and Fun Employed is bringing people with real design talent into the hobby. And just on the subject of Japanese games, we've got Z-Man's beautiful Traders of Osaka, Funforge's amazing Samurai Spirit, or the staggeringly beautiful new Fantasy Flight edition of Reiner Knizia's Samurai. This stuff is not okay anymore. Board games are huge objects you're buying at great expense to take into your home. Back in the day, I would say, yeah, this game's kind of gross, but look past it. These days, I can say, you don't really have to. We should send a message to publishers saying, we want nice things, damn it, and we will pay for them. Anyway, the review. The reason Shogun is an ugly game, incidentally, is because it first came out all the way back in the mists of time, in 2006. Fortunately, there's something we can do about that. Oh yes, we've got a review from back in the Shut Up and Sit Down archives. That can teach you how to play while I don't have to do any work. Good evening. Today we look at a rather marvellous game. Shogun depicts the struggles of the people of the Orient. And to achieve victory, you shall have to be as cunning and underhand yourself as a tricksy Jap. We begin every review, as we always do, with a component drop dedicated to Queen Elizabeth. Let's just get to the rules. Shogun is a rather straightforward game of war. Players control cubes representing samurai, which translates in English as land bastards. At the end of each of the game's 2 years, players will score. You will gain 1 victory point for each province you control, as well as 1 victory point for each building you have, and multiple victory points if you have the most of a given type of building in a region. Players may build castles, which are rather fabulous, temples, which are nice, but also theatres, home, as we all know, to the unemployed and Marxists. See here, red controls more theatres than yellow in this region, and so achieves 1 additional victory point. I would imagine that the victory is short-lived. Marxists would surely swarm every bordello and flophouse in the region, eating their own hair and encouraging others to do the same. If a Marxist encourages you to eat your hair, say sternly, no, I will not eat my own hair. You filthy Marxist. This was a terrible idea. So, we're playing a game of area control. That's good, that's a tried and tested game mechanic, but Shogun takes it even further. 2 systems strengthen it into gaming steel. The first is setup, which is actually a game in and of itself. Players take turns, you draw 2 regions off the top of the region deck, and then you have to put your people in one of them, or a random new location off the top, which means while you want to have walls at your back and control big regions yourself, what ends up happening is you end up having this scattered force all across Japan that instantly gets you thinking, well, where can I consolidate? Where do I want to lose people? Once you've placed all of your little cubes around and you've made almost certainly a horrible mess, you flip your player board. And this looks incredibly boring, doesn't it? This is actually the second system that makes Shogun absolutely great. Oh, I'm just so excited to talk about this. This blew my mind when I first played it. Okay, you've got 10 slots on your player board corresponding to the 10 actions you can do. So building 3 different kinds of buildings, mustering armies of 3 different quantities, 2 kinds of attack spaces, get rice from a region, get money. Every region you own, you also get the card for that region. So if you want to get rice from Echizen, you put that there. If you want to attack out of Ki, you put that there. But that massively limits what you can do in a very easy to understand way, because obviously now you can't build an army and attack out of the same place in the same turn. So you have to work out how best to use these places. Also, because if you attack someone, you get that card immediately. It's possible for you to strip that card off their player board, potentially meaning they get no rice or money that turn. More on rice later. So this is interesting, but what makes it even more interesting are then two other systems within this system. The order of every action you can do is put out afresh each turn. So some turns attacking will come first and some turns money will go first. So you're looking at your friends trying to figure out what they do, because if they're going to attack, you have to shore up defenses beforehand. So it's a game of prediction. You're looking at your friends, you're so interested in what they're doing, and that's an amazing thing for a board game to have. You care deeply about other people's moves. So if you think someone's going to attack you, maybe you muster heavily in that region, that whole area, and then when they don't attack you, they're looking at you going, "Why are you mustering?" And you go, "I don't know." It's so fun, you know? And also it has a wonderful pace to it, because you stress and you stress and you stress and you put out all these cards, and then you can just sit back and get your breath as you find out what happens as the theatre plays out across Japan in front of you, and making it even more interesting, Jesus, are these 5 bluffing cards you've got. You don't have to do every kind of action. You put down a secret bluff, then nobody knows that you're not really building anything because you can't afford it. But the other side of these cards are used to determine turn order. You also have an 11th slot. That's how much you bid to go, say, in the first register before everyone else, or last, if that's what you're after. It really is just so good. Every single turn in Shogun will have somebody having a nightmare problem that they cannot solve. Everyone else's 10 cards will be down, and you'll all be watching them and sympathizing with them and laughing as they go, "Ah!" It's another thing that you guys can share together, believe it or not. And then as things play out, again, every turn, someone will have made a dreadful mistake. You'll go, "Castles, who's building a castle?" And they'll go, "Not me. Apparently I am." And then that'll radically change the board state. Next up, let's talk about the... You know what? Let's talk about farmers next. Farmers are the bane of everyone's existence. When you take rice or money from a region, you have to place a little green unrest token there. If you try and harvest in the same region twice, you place another token and have to fight farmers. And farmers, they're really not funny. So instead, you're probably going to try and get your income from other regions around Japan, except then you're potentially you're opening yourself up to players taking those regions from you, and meaning you get no income at all. And income in this game is exquisitely balanced. You've got loads of money at the start, loads. You're never going to run out, and then you run out, and then money is the only thing that matters. Similarly, rice, what good is it? Absolutely nothing, does nothing, just pushes you up the rice track. Easy. Except at the end of every year, you have to pay 1 rice for every province, and a random event is going to cause everyone to lose more rice. And this is, again, another incredibly interesting, simple system. All 4 random events for the year are laid out. And at the bottom, you can see 4 possible winters you might go through. Each one of these random events happens each season, so you get more and more of an idea as how much rice you need as winter draws near. And then when winter's there, if you don't have enough rice to feed everyone, you get riots, randomly losing control of regions and burning down your buildings. And that is some of the most wonderful Schadenfreude I've ever experienced in a board game. It's Japan, there's everything to play for, anyone could win. Tim, how much have you failed to feed your peasantry?
A lot. Let me see, I've got to feed peasants in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 places, and I can only feed them in 3 places.
3 places? Okay, great. So you fail to the degree of 6, is that right?
So 2 locations are going to have big fights with peasants.
Let's really hope they don't tear down your castles.
Are you ready to find out which places are
yes.
for rice? Not that one. Oh god. Sagami. Where the piss is that? Over here. With your lone temple. Oh shit.
3 points.
So he's gonna.
Oh no, he's gonna burn down your castle? Are you serious?
Yeah, that was my game-winning castle. Do I get my defense bonus?
No, because it's no longer that season.
Right.
So how many? Can we just see your hand of what's going in the tower? Okay, great.
Your yellow going in?
Yeah. Sure. Good luck, pal.
No.
No.
Only just.
Did you do it?
No.
Oh.
Alright, so that's... okay, I'm not...
All of which leads me towards a phrase we so often try and resist on a Shut Up and Sit Down. It's just good. I've been thinking a lot recently about what makes a good puzzle, right? And it should be an engine that you insert thought into and then ding, you get a solution. And you feel happy that you've got that solution. Problems that can happen with puzzles in games is that you put your thoughts in and you don't get a solution, or you get a solution back too quickly, or, this is arguable, you're very silent and locked in your own little world. Shogun, it's... You put thoughts in and you work and you work and you work, and then bam, you get your 10 cards down, and then you can relax and you watch your friends make mistakes, you watch your friends fight, your friends bicker, and that's just so enjoyable. You watch this drama play out, and then you go again, just as you're rested. And then halfway through the game, you get that yearly scoring phase, the first of the game's 2 years, and you find yourselves scattered along the scoring track, and then you pick up all the little angry farmer tokens, and you're kind of able to play the game again, you know? Like, sometimes you finish a board game and you go, oh, next time we play this, I'll know. In Shogun, that happens halfway through. You get to have another bite of the apple, knowing that that player in the lead, you've all got to mess him up. Finally, we have this thing, and I think it's called a and this thing isn't so much the cherry on the birthday cake as the dancer that bursts out of the cake and then you can't remember anything else. You see, it helps you resolve battles. When units move into a region, you pick up all the units in that region, and then the side that has more cubes drop out of it, that's the winner, and you put it back. And this is incredible. Oh my god, it makes other board games look like chumps for using dice to resolve battles. None of this, oh, it's a big battle, I'll go and get a cup of tea while they do it. No, it's the biggest... let me pick all these up. It's the biggest fight that Japan has ever seen, and it's resolved as quickly as that. And the reason this is made out of translucent plastic is that everybody can see. Plus, obviously, it's an unbelievable tactile thrill to drop things into the top of this thing and then see the things come out. It's also funny when someone jostles the table and a cube falls out like a drunk stumbling out of a nightclub. So confused as to what's going on. How does it work? Well, nobody really knows. But you want to see something cool? Overall, I was very, very impressed with Shogun, but you know what? It just misses out on the prestigious Shut Up and Sit Down Recommends badge for a couple of reasons. The first off, it looks the way it does, and that's no small thing. You're going to struggle to get non-gamer friends to play it, but also because frankly it just lacks the betrayal or the heroics or the character, you know, those moments that you want to share on social media or at water coolers, if water coolers even really exist. It's so strong. It just lacks that spark that gets games into our list. And you know what? This guy knows it. Look at him standing with the sunset looking sad. He knows that the time for this kind of board game has passed. Why don't you rescue a copy of Shogun today? Why don't you bring it home, give it a nice place? Why don't you just take it home and set it up and look at it? Don't even need to play it. And then just stop drinking water. And then, you know, hang out with the and then just put your finger in it. Don't drink any water. Just put your finger in this and wait to decompose so it can use you. Oh, Mr. Board Game, bring me a dream, make it the sweetest that I've ever